The San Jose Sharks head up to Vancouver to take on the Vancouver Canucks and just get destroyed right after the holiday break. We'll break down this game. We'll break down the lack of scoring. We'll talk about the lack of scoring.
We'll just break down.
We'll just break down, yes. The Sharks and the Barracuda. Oh boy, it's going to be a fun one. Join us now here on Teal Town After Dark. Oh, God. Good evening, everyone. It is Tuesday night, December 27th, 2022. We hope you had a wonderful holiday. As for the Sharks, they come off their holiday break and get destroyed 6-2 to the Vancouver Canucks. Welcome to Teal Town After Dark. This is your live interactive Sharks postgame. We do this after every game, so if you want to be part of the show, chat with us and fellow Sharks fans all over the world in Sharks territory on the YouTube page or the app. Of course, follow us on the social, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, SoundCloud, Reddit, Discord, TikTok, and find everything at tealtownusa.com. And if you want to support the show, hit us up on Venmo at tealtownusa. And oh my, what is this? This is Kevin Lacey. What's up, my friend? Long time no chat.
You are all getting super salty, Kevin Lacey, this evening. This is going to be, I try to give a positive spin as much as I can. I don't think the Sharks game was that bad, but I came back. I mean, it was bad, but I came back from the Barracuda game, so no good vibes today. I had a great time talking to people at TXU Arena.
Of course.
And I'm going to have a great time talking with you, Eric, and talking with everyone in the Google chat. Can we just make this teal-tinted glasses where we don't actually recap games and we just discuss news? Because that's way more fun.
I mean, it would be more fun, but that this is a post-game show, so we do have to break it down a little bit. We'll get some chatting. We'll chat up a little bit, but for now, let's recap the game as the Sharks head up to Vancouver for a one-game road trip, coming off that nice win against Minnesota before the holiday pause. Coming into this one, Vancouver won in overtime both times in San Jose, and you're kind of expecting maybe the Sharks to build off some momentum. Yeah, okay, whatever. And it didn't start off too well within the first 5 minutes. Bo Horvat gets his 25th of the season, making it 1-0 Canucks. It doesn't help when Tomas Hertl is literally taking his skate protector off just as the play is going the other way on that one. That's a frustrating one there. And then like 12 minutes later, Elias Pettersson doing Pettersson things, making Lane Peterson look like an NHLer. God, can it get any better than this? To make it 2-0 Vancouver on his 16th of the season. Sandwich in this period, you have a couple of penalties. Luke Schenn goes off for interference, but then Lane Peterson does Lane Peterson things. He slashes Noah Gregor, which I find funny that a Canucks fan talk about saying, "Oh, that was a dive," and I'm like, you guys invented hockey diving. But that leads to hope, which is, for us Sharks fans, that's all we got. But Timo Meier with a nice tip from an Erik Karlsson shot pass to make it 2-1 with a minute to go in the period. Kevin, that first period wasn't pretty, but they made it interesting with that last minute with Timo getting that goal.
Yeah, I was coming back from TXU Arena tonight, so I missed the first period entirely. But and we'll get into the second period. Watching the second period, felt like watching the Barracuda game all over again,
Oh, God.
play for play, pretty much. So to see the Sharks down 2-1 after the first period, I've assumed that the first period was the same way, which it actually wasn't. So the Barracuda gave up a goal with 3 seconds left in the first period, and we're down 3-0. Whereas the Sharks were able to get that goal with under a minute left to get themselves some life going into intermission. You hope they come out strong, and I thought that they did come out pretty strong in the second period. Right out of the gate, they had two or three really prime scoring chances against Spencer Martin, and just weren't able to come away with it. And then couple minutes later, Ilya Mikheyev scores to make it 3-1 Vancouver, and it was like the Sharks just decided, oh, well, we tried. And I feel like that's the last time I was on After Dark, I said the same exact thing.
Yeah.
A good effort coming out of intermission, and then they just decided, you know what? We gave it our best shot. We can't score. What do you mean there's 45 minutes left or 35 minutes left in this hockey game?
And I'll go back to that first post-game presser with David Quinn where the team was demoralized. I mean, it just seems like this psyche in this squad is still there, and for some reason it's just, you have that one play that, it doesn't help that Bonino takes a holding call early in the period. And while that wasn't a power play goal by Mikheyev, I mean, it's just frustrating to see them just give up the momentum right then and there, and then just have not necessarily one of their horrible second periods like we've seen them have in the first.
Oh, there have been way worse. For sure.
There have been way worse. But, I mean, to have that goal by Mikheyev, and then, a little over a minute and a half later, have Quinn Hughes scores his first goal of the season, which is shocking for Quinn Hughes to be, on the schneid this whole season. And here we are post Boxing Day, and he gets his first. 6 minutes in, this game is 4-1, and it's done.
Yeah, the game was over, and that was. Those were the first 5 minutes that I got to see of this game as I was continuing to head home.
I'm so sorry.
And I know. And it just felt like, well, I've already seen this game. Like, I just came home from Texas Arena and saw this game. Like Jesse in the chat saying that he feels like he didn't miss much coming home from the Barracuda game. And yeah. Because it was the same thing. Like, the second period was almost identical.
Like what Landy put in our private chat, in our group chat. You haven't missed much.
That's right. He did. Yeah, and so it was demoralizing for me, having seen the organization on the whole this evening, to see that. Like that's why I say there's super salty Kevin this evening, because I didn't see a whole lot of good.
No,
I wish I had more, but
and even with James Reimer, who's been one of the key cognates of this team, he had a rough night. I mean, let's not beat around the bush. I mean,
but I'm not gonna fault Quinn. I'm not gonna fault Reimer on the Quinn Hughes goal, because five Sharks all watched him dance around with the puck until he got into prime scoring position. And the thing of it was that the Sharks. At least three of them. I saw Sturm, and I think it was Nieto, and then one of the defensemen. Like, they all stopped. Like, they started to go out towards Hughes to attack him, and then thought, no, you know what? Let me stay in my zone. I shouldn't venture out. And someone's got to play that right side. Yeah. Someone's got to defend the right side. You can't all have five players playing left side zone defense. It just doesn't work. And so I really don't think that's a systematic thing. I think that's just players making bonehead decisions. And the Sharks can't be they're not afforded time to make boneheaded decisions. Like, when you're already down 3-1, you need to be aggressive. If anything, you need to be overly aggressive. And if you get beat, at least you made the attempt to take the puck away. You can't just watch a player skate all the way around, do a full circle around your defensive zone, and then shoot from a prime location and score.
Yeah, and as we're getting some comments from the locker room to kind of go off on what you talked about with the D zone coverage, I didn't like what went in our end structural D zone coverage. It was a problem tonight. We have to compete harder 1-on-1.
Definitely.
I mean, that's just frustrating to point out. Go ahead. You were going to say something.
Which goal was the one that Benning was hurt? There was another player who was hurt. One of the forwards was hurt, and then Benning got hurt.
It was, I believe, it was the Mikheyev goal.
Okay.
That they got. And you had Benning get hurt, and he tried to give it a go, but he left in the third period. Couture also looked like he took a shot. Didn't hurt as much. He stayed in the game, of course, but
yeah, and Benning played less than 10 minutes tonight, so that stinks. PJ asked, was Gregor out for that goal? Probably. When you look at the box score, Bonino -3, Gregor -3, Hurdle -3, Ferraro and Magna -3. So probably Gregor.
Yeah, I'm surprised there. I'm looking at,
but
there's
yeah,
not.
I know
even
Sturm was
team.
definitely out there for that one.
Yeah, it's he was a -2 on the night, and I know plus minus can be such an interesting stat to say the least, but you have no player that's in the plus side, and while you lose by 4 goals, that tends to happen, of course. But yeah, MC Digital or Sharks refine new system. Every man for himself. But third period, more of the same. Horvat gets a nice little shot that beats Reimer, make it 5-1. Timo would make it interesting, getting his second goal like a couple minutes later, but then 2 minutes after that, Brock Besser gets it right back. I mean, for Vancouver, Kevin, I mean, for a team that's, I guess they're like 6 points out of a playoff spot, Bo Horvat 4-point night, Ilya Mikheyev a 4-point night. It just seems like, and for the Canucks themselves, 5 in a row against 6 in a row against the Sharks, and 10 of 11 against San Jose. I mean, it wasn't long ago where we were saying the Sharks owned Vancouver for years. It almost seems like after the sweep in 2013, it just kept going.
Yeah, definitely. And kind of lost my train of thought there, but about the Canucks, but they're not offensively starved for the most part. They're more porous defensively, which the Sharks have some aspects of as well. But what you have to be frustrated with, I'm very, very frustrated with tonight, is you've got the San Jose Sharks coming in as the number 1 penalty killing team in the league, the Vancouver Canucks coming in as the 32nd penalty killing team in the league. And yet the Sharks, I believe, went scoreless on the power play.
They went 1 for 2. The first.
Okay, they did go 1 for 2. Okay.
So you get that going for you. So there's something.
Yeah, but it just shows to me, again, we've seen it in previous years where the Sharks had a really great penalty kill as one of the worst defensive teams in the league. And I guess tonight is one of those nights. I mean, the Canucks only had 1 power play, so the Sharks were 1 for 1 there. But just generally speaking, you would think that the Sharks should be able to capitalize. If Vancouver's 32nd in the league penalty killing, their defense is probably, bottom 3rd in the league in general. Yeah. I don't have the stats to show it, but I would assume that. And with Thatcher Demko being out right now, I'm not the biggest Spencer Martin fan. I think he's fine. I thought he really came to play tonight and put in the full effort. I mean, the Sharks had chances, especially in the third period. I thought the Sharks, again, I did not see the first period, but of the two I saw, the Sharks' third period was by far better than the second period, and I thought they had their chances. But Spencer Martin came to task. Showed up. Tomas Hertl had a couple of prime chances that he couldn't bury. Barabanov had one, I believe, at the end of the second period
Oh
where
yeah.
it just bounced over his stick and he couldn't score. And that was actually a lot like the Barracuda game tonight. Was the Barracuda put up 37 shots on goal, and they could have had that. I'd say 10 or 12 more if pucks weren't bouncing over their sticks or bouncing in the opposite direction of where their momentum was heading, their forward momentum was heading. So, some bad luck there for both the Sharks and the Barracuda tonight. But bottom line is, Sharks needed to bury those chances against a team as poor defensively as Vancouver is.
And it's just frustrating.
Yeah.
Very frustrating indeed to have that go on. This is crazy. Jerry F., I'll get to your super chat in just a jiffy.
Thanks, Jerry.
The Sharks have allowed 62 goals in their past 15 games. They've yielded 5+ goals in 8 of them. Just tough to see and tough to convince somebody to be like, hey, James Reimer is available for you if you at the right price. And it's just really, really tough to experience, But get to the super chat, Jerry. Thank you so much. Happy belated birthday, Puck Guy. Thanks to Teal Town USA team for great coverage as usual. Appreciate it, Jerry. Of course, the super chat always goes to support the show, and our overcost, so we're not, breaking into our wallets to keep this bad boy going here. But overall, and I see Larry Johnson saying it's pretty clear they're tanking this year. But I know I've been saying this with Ian on a couple of shows. At least they've been entertaining in some of these games, even though they've lost. It's this one, and lately it's kind of been a little bit the opposite.
Sorry, I'm reading a couple of comments in the chat.
Go on. If there's something that's
no. It's all about Barracuda coverage.
Okay.
So.
We're almost there. He's chomping at the bit, folks. He's like, yeah.
Well, there's a couple of things I need to say about that game, but were you talking about Reimer?
You can talk about Reimer here. In those last 5 starts, 760. 923, 842, 951, 909. I mean, yeah, that's a tough one, but
it is tough. But like a game like tonight, like Horvat and Besser score in garbage time. Like this game was over, so it sucks that the Sharks are trying to push the play a little bit, try and make something happen, but you lose some of the defensive side in that. And Reimer, a couple of 2-on-1s later, and suddenly his goals against is 6 for the night. His save percentage is 76% for the night. Like, this has been happening quite a bit, where I think Reimer is keeping the team in games until the wheels just fall off. And so I know that. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that James Reimer has not had the season that he did last year, but I think James Reimer is still coming out and showing up every night, or showing up 98% of the nights anyway.
Yeah.
I think, if anything, the blame, if you want to blame any of the goalies, I would put it on Kaapo Kähkönen, like the goalie who Ian and I at the start of the season said this is his time to take the reins as the number one goal. You want him to take the job from James Reimer, so that James Reimer, when he most likely gets traded at the trade deadline, you've got Kähkönen as the bona fide starter. And we've seen everything but that this season. So that is the more worrisome thing to me. Again, defense, not great. I think the Sharks more so need to work on their offensive side, and especially in their puck transition. Um, but I'm okay with James Reimer right now. I don't think his value is dropping if that's what folks are worried about most.
Yeah.
So
And PJ48 also chiming in, where would this team be without Reimer? I mean, where would this team be without Reimer, Meyer, or Carlson? For a team that's got some nice talent here, damn, bro, it's not producing results, unfortunately.
no. Hey, someone in the chat way earlier said something like Meyer and Carlson can't go. Carlson can go. Carlson can go straight to the All-Star game because at least the Sharks this season, unlike the last two, in my opinion, have been absolutely deserving NHL All-Star this year in Erik Karlsson. So.
Erik Karlsson, I mean, you have it's kind of early to start talking about the All-Star, but yeah, I mean, how do you keep Karlsson and Meyer out? I mean, he's loosen his mic there a little bit. There you go.
Oh, sorry, I didn't. My bad. It was started to fall over there. So,
but yeah, I think Karlsson gets in. Can Timo Meyer get in? I think so. I mean, if he can put up another 10 goals before the break, I mean, Timo should be getting in. But you do have 8 teams that to squeeze into that Pacific Division format. So, but yeah, Brandon Osborne. Meyer and Karlsson trying to do everything they can to make sure they aren't on the team past the deadline. Oh boy. To me, and I know I'm going to repeat this. Man, if they were to trade Meyer, that just signifies to me that this rebuild is going to be a really bad teardown, or just they're going to have to rebuild more so than what they have right now.
I think the Sharks. I don't think the Sharks should trade Timo Meyer, period, because you have to have building blocks. You have to have solid building blocks. Where we can't just rely on William Eklund, to hopefully he'll be the future, but you need to have someone you definitely can build around besides Tomas Hertl. And but at the same time, the pieces that Timo Meyer can bring are also what the Sharks need. So that one's a tough one, but I'm still on the side of you have to keep Timo Meyer. And again, I know we've said it before ad nauseum. I'm going to say it again. I don't care about his qualifying offer. You have to bring him back. And the Sharks are not tied to having to sign him at his qualifying offer. They just have to qualify him. So, yeah, he can't go.
No. I think that just sends a red flag to fans and to the league that the Sharks aren't anywhere near them anytime soon. And I don't think the team thinks that. So, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll quickly run through some of the quotes from the locker room. The mistake we made were just too big. We blew D coverage. We had chances to climb back. Spencer Martin played it well. That's the game. When you play against Quinn Hughes, you better play with attitude. We had sloppy blown coverage. It can't happen at any point of the game. And you saw those horrible drop passes that just were, why are you trying to be fancy in there? Quinn would go on. I think this was creeping in before tonight. Vancouver had the same time off. That's no excuse. So, tough one to take for the Sharks. And yeah, through 36 games, the Sharks are at 11, 19, and 6. Thank God they hit 11. The last thing we need is a Cow Palace run. Last season, they were 19, 16, and 1 after that crazy start.
Hey, you mentioned that Cow Palace run. I don't know about these retro jerseys, guys. I think the unis are pretty. They look sick. Like that jersey looks nice on you.
Thank
I'm a
you.
fan of the uniform itself.
Yes.
But why are we rehashing eras of terrible hockey? How many championships, how many playoffs did the Oakland/California Golden Seals have?
If I'm not
When the
mistaken, like two.
Coyotes were wearing their garbage Kachina jerseys, how many playoffs did they appear in? Did they even win any games when they did? And the Canucks still look like the Hartford Whalers. And we know the Hartford Whalers never did anything before they moved to Carolina. So, maybe we should bring in eras of jerseys where we actually won.
So
Just a thought.
So what?
I know. I know. Obviously, the jersey's not really going to play the how the team plays, affect how the team plays, but still.
But there is something to that, because I believe the 2 wins they've had in these reverse retro jerseys, if you go all the way back to the stadium game where they've had the special stadium jerseys, and we're talking about the Heritage in the 25th year, the Heritage in the 30th year. We're talking about those gray reverse retros during the the COVID season. Those 2 wins in these reverse retros are the only wins they've had in their specialty jerseys. We will talk about black armor and Michael Molasses says bring back black armor, the 08 black jersey.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, I mean, they look great. I can't wait for the equipment sale, by the way. But you bringing back the ones they wore in the Cup final? Do you bring back the Edge jersey? Which one are you thinking, bud?
Oh, 2008 black armor. Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially Joe Thornton's gone. Joe Thornton hated that jersey, and he's gone. So why not bring him back? What's up?
We've seen him in the press box.
That's true.
NBC was kind of drew up a little piece of artwork saying the wishful thinking that everybody wants Joe Thornton as head coach. It ain't gonna happen, people.
Okay.
I mean, let's be honest. He's probably waiting for Patty's retirement night to announce his retirement. In the end.
Yeah. That's you might be onto something there, Eric.
Yeah. I just have a feeling. You just see Jumbo around all the time.
Too. I will say though, no, for real though, that jersey is pretty slick. Was tonight the last night that they're wearing it, or do they still have one more?
They have one more on Thursday against the Flyers, and that's it. And then we go back to Evolve. So, yeah.
All right.
With that, let's break out.
Ooh, Barracuda.
The San Jose Barracuda played earlier this afternoon, late afternoon.
Speaking of jerseys, are they ever going to wear the gray jerseys? The ones that are supposed to be their primaries?
Yeah. I'm still waiting for that.
I know there are reasons that were somewhat out of the Barracuda control there.
Yeah.
But still, that I was asked that earlier in the week on Twitter, like,
when
gray jerseys, the Barracuda have worn their alternates more than any other jersey this season.
Right. So the Barracuda tonight played at home against the Bakersfield Condors. Of course, for those not in the aware, they are the Edmonton Oilers affiliates. It's but I'll let you take the reins of this, because 5-1 the final score in this one. The frustrations and then the bright spot, my friend.
Okay, so I'm gonna break some people down in the chat. Sorry, folks. Let's see if I can pull this up real quick. But I saw some love for Ryan Merkley earlier, which
or lack thereof.
No, legitimate love for Ryan Merkley, which clearly I need to update some folks on how tonight's game went. Oh, okay. Here's a comment from Dave here. Merkley's probably a bit demoralized because he's been going quite well this season and isn't being rewarded for it. Yeah, well, tonight is why Ryan Merkley is still in the AHL. And for how much longer? Who knows? Because Ryan Merkley's probably going to spend some time in the press box after tonight. So,
Really?
Starting off with Carter Savoy getting a power play goal. That I don't know if Merkley was out there for that one, but that was 14:26 into the first period. And a half minute later, Ryan Merkley, who, while the Barracuda had the puck in the offensive zone, Ryan Merkley was, for whatever reason, standing behind the blue line, out of position, as he'd been out of position most of the first period, then decided to cut across the ice to try and pinch on the Condors' outlet pass, got completely burned by Tyler Tullio. Merkley spun back, tried to get back into the play. The Condors did a little drop play, Tullio to Griffith, which actually allowed Merkley to get back into play, only to do his second flyby in about 5 seconds. Griffith just skated in and scored. Immediately after that, the Condors took a penalty 40 seconds later, to which on the Barracuda power play, Ryan Merkley, again, still not where he should be standing whatsoever on a power play manning the point. Condors dumped the puck down, and Ryan Merkley, who had almost a full width between the center line and the blue line from the attacking forechecker of Bakersfield, got beat clean because Merkley just ho-hummed his way back to the defense, into the defensive zone, and Greg McKegg got to the puck first and ate about 20 seconds of the Barracuda power play time. That was the last we saw of Ryan Merkley tonight. John McCarthy said, and I'm sorry for the E rating that I'm about to give this show, but Ryan Merkley was basically told to get the fuck off the ice because he spent the rest of the time manning the door where he defended it to the best of his abilities tonight.
Oh, boy.
He legitimately saw no ice time the last 4 minutes of the first period, none in the 20-minute second period, none in the 20-minute third period. He sat on the bench, opening the door and closing the door the whole rest of the game. How long has Ryan Merkley been a pro?
What?
This is his third year now in the league.
Mm-hmm. In the AHL.
In the AHL. He's a first-round pick with oodles of offensive ability, despite the fact that he has, 3 professional goals? It is time for Ryan Merkley to wake up. What are you doing? And I think that's what John McCarthy told him during intermission. What are you doing? General manager Mike Grier did not go with the Sharks to Vancouver tonight. Instead, he stayed behind in San Jose to watch the prospects and see what was going on with the Barracuda. Mike Grier got a first-hand look at Ryan Merkley playing, I believe, 6 minutes tonight before being benched for the final 44 minutes of the game. Not a good look when he's supposed to be the top defensive prospect in this organization. Not a good look. From then on, as I mentioned, Bakersfield scored less than 3 seconds left in the first period to make it 3-0. Now the bright spot.
Thank God.
Thomas Bordeleau.
Yes,
with
thank
his
you.
14th goal of the season in 30 games. Which, as Corey Masisak said on Twitter earlier this evening, I don't have the tweet up, but he said that that Thomas Bordeleau has now set career highs for goals in the season at any, high-ranking junior or professional level. Obviously, his first season professionally, but he has more goals this season than he did at any point in college or for the USHL, U.S. National Development Team. Sorry about that.
I got it for you. Thomas Bordeleau now has 14 goals in 30 games for the CUDA. That's more goals than he scored at either season at Michigan, 20 in 61 games total, and more than he had in his USHL games or for the National Team Development Program in either season, 17 and 55 games total.
Yeah. So Thomas Bordeleau, again, this is the play that it's the bread and butter play for the Barracuda. Kanyatsev from the left passes down Royal Road to Bordeleau, one time, bang. It was beautiful. What a shot. And they had already tried that right before that, but Bakersfield, one of the defenders, got his stick on the puck, and it went out of play, resulting in the face-off that Agazzino won back to Kanyatsev. Do the play right over again. It was gorgeous. So keep doing your thing, Thomas Bordeleau. I know a lot of people have been saying, how can he not be called up? Yeah, and I still don't see the Sharks. You know, we saw the Sharks fall tonight pretty badly. And so, yeah, Bordeleau is going to help this team a bit, but he's not going to carry the team on his back. I still rather see him develop into a fine young professional athlete. And then next year after that, he can take it to the next level. Same with William Eklund. I thought William Eklund actually had a pretty good game tonight. William Eklund, despite the fact that he is not putting up the points that I think everyone had hoped he would be, he's still out there making plays, being a dynamo on the puck. He's super creative. I think that Eklund's problem has been he's creative in tight, and there's almost too much traffic for him to bust through. Like, he'll get through a guy, he'll get through two guys, but when he's trying to get those passes in through 3-4 guys into the slot, it's just not working. So, but the creativity is there. So I'm not really worried about Eklund. And the other prospect I do want to give some light to tonight was Daniil Gushchin, who is not a prospect I'm really that excited about, but I thought he played one of his strongest professional games here tonight. He was tenacious. He really was flying all over the place, using his speed for a change rather than kind of holding up halfway into the offensive zone. He was continuing to drive to the net, continuing to drive behind the net, trying to get loose pucks. And heck, he even got into fisticuffs. It wasn't a fight, but into fisticuffs in the corner in the third period. But I will give, I know Race Fan Rocks in the chat pointed out, Phil Kemp grabbed Daniil Gushchin, grabbed Andre Agazzino, who were both on top of his teammate, and just pulled them both off. It was pretty sick. I'll give him that.
It was kind of like Bufflin in that Western Conference final, I think, in 2018 against Vegas, where he's got like two Golden Knights guys. I saw that, but the thing is that Kemp just kind of just pushes Gushchin right into the net, and I liked how William Eklund came up and was like, who's obviously outmatched, and he's like, no, you're not doing that to my teammate.
Yeah, no, it's great. And again, Eklund, Gushchin, and Agazzino, the three smallest players on this roster, and yet they're the ones who are out there doing the battling. So I thought they all played really well tonight, and but just kind of wrapping it up, Barracuda weren't able to double up there after Bordeleau's goal. Halfway through the second, Seth Griffith got his second goal, and then Raphael Lavoie scored a couple minutes after that. That was all she wrote. It was 5-1 at that point, and that's how the game ended, was 5-1.
Quickly, let's talk about Strauss-Mann tonight, 23 or 28 tonight.
Yeah. So Strauss-Mann, I was trying to figure out. I know Ian was pretty.
He was done.
Ian was done with the Barracuda game, and after halfway through, and I didn't really blame him. But I couldn't tell whether or not he was frustrated with Strauss-Mann or not. I thought Strauss-Mann played fine. I thought the defense let him down. Nick Cicek, oh man, I should have mentioned this earlier. On the Kesselring goal with under 3 seconds left, Cicek was the other defenseman when Merkley was just doing flybys on Griffith's first goal. But I'm not going to fault Cicek there, because I have a feeling he was probably very confused at what Merkley was doing and didn't know where he needed to be, because Merkley's just flying all over the place. But Kesselring is just allowed to walk right in. Cicek It's a 2-on-2 that Cicek played like a 2-on-1, and it was bad. So those type of plays, I'm not faulting Strauss-Mann for at all. The disappointing thing was that, we talked early on in the season that the Barracuda have this three-headed goalie monster of Mann, McNiemi, and Dell. And I still am confident in all three goalies. I think they've all played very, very well. And the leaky goals that we saw the last two seasons have not really been there this season. But the bottom line is, entering the night, Strauss-Mann was the only goalie with a save percentage above 900. He had a 912 save percentage. After tonight, he's at 899.
Oh.
So the Barracuda just have this three-headed monster of goalies with sub 900 save percentages. And that, to me, just spells how putrid the defense has gotten. It does not help, and it drives me nuts that there's a Condors fan. I'm not sure if it's Race Fan Rocks, but there's someone on my Twitter who's like, well, see how the Condors played now that we're back at full strength again? The Barracuda are still without three defensemen. It's the same as the last time we played Bakersfield. Derek Pouliot still has a sling on his arm. I still don't know what's going on with Santeri Hatakka. And Patrick Hallway is still dealing with a knee injury that he's had since the preseason. So three defensemen are out of the lineup. Merkley gets pulled for most of the game. So you're relying on Montana Onyebuchi playing 20 minutes, Pat Seeloff playing 25 minutes. He was in the DEL last year. Darren Brady's on a tryout. Have you ever heard of Darren Brady? I hadn't until he got the tryout. So,
he's from Idaho, right?
Probably.
I think so. I think it's the PTO from Idaho.
From the Steelheads?
Yeah.
Okay. But the three-headed monster is fine, but they need some support there.
And it doesn't help that, Matt Benning goes down to injury. Quinn mentioned he hadn't heard any update on him, so most likely Cicek is going to probably get called back up to the Sharks for the game on Thursday. Granted, they can have Shimmick go in the meantime because Shimmick was a healthy scratch this evening. It'll be interesting to see. Yeah, the Sharks' woes haven't helped the issues, so.
I like AJ's. First off, Jesse said Onyebuchi on PK1 is not great. But AJ's comment, that wouldn't happen if Dan Kelly was still with the CUDA instead of being an NHL linesman shoving guys into their lockers. Michael Bunting. That's Barracuda killer Michael Bunting, mind you, who I believe is still top 3 in all-time goals against the Barracuda, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, that was a great comment there, AJ. I like that.
I'll never get enough of that one. That was just crazy. And then when we found out that it was Dan Kelly, who former Barracuda Dan Kelly, oh geez. So the CUDA have a back-to-back to close out 2022 this weekend against the Coachella Valley Firebirds. So Friday night 7 p.m., Saturday afternoon 3 p.m. So you can do that, and then still have time to get home to watch the Sharks lose on New Year's Eve to the Dallas Stars.
Well, that's the spirit. No, but the Barracuda. I'll be at one of the two Barracuda games against Coachella Valley here this upcoming weekend, Friday or Saturday. I haven't decided which day. The last time that Coachella Valley came to TXU Arena, it was 8-3 drubbing, which I thankfully was sick and had to trade my tickets for. So we're gonna try it again, and hopefully this time the 8 will be on our side. Because Eric, do you want to build a snowman? I do.
Okay, bye. Oh, boy. Well, with that being said, the Sharks organization was outscored by a total of 11-3 on this night. I mean, I'll ask you this since I haven't talked to you. should Bordelot at this point in the season, because I think we were all excited that maybe this is going to be a Calder contending, team with all the talent that they have. The way that it's gone, should you bring up Bordelot because you need the goal scoring, or just keep marinating him?
Marinate him. I see no
Override.
reason why Bordelot needs to be on the Sharks this entire season. I'm talking 82 games. I don't see why he or Eklund or anyone else need to get called up. And I will still insist that, Jasper Weatherby's not putting up points, but I still notice Jasper Weatherby in a positive light every time I watch the Barracuda. I think he's faster than I've ever seen him before. I think he's more physical than he was last year. His problem is he just doesn't finish plays. But I think he goes to the right areas, and he does a lot of little things well. So I still think Jasper Weatherby is the first youthful call-up, because obviously CJ Cease has been getting the call-ups recently. And CJ Cease played pretty well tonight, although until he got a couple of penalties, and then he was like unnoticeable. But
all I'm going to say is when you change your number to 14, good things happen. Let's put it there. So,
there you go.
All right. In case you missed anything or you want to watch this again, check us out on tealtownusa.com or wherever you get your podcasts, either on Apple or Google Podcasts. You can also get us on the SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Odyssey. And, of course, if you're watching us on YouTube, by all means, like this video, subscribe, hit that notification bell to notify you when we go on the air. And of course, if you're watching us on the replay, leave a comment down below about what you saw tonight, what the Sharks should do, what the Cuda should improve on. Should Kevin Lacey get a PTO to be a seventh defenseman on this team at this point?
We've talked about if they need a 39-year-old right shot defenseman.
Well, Merkley's getting scratched. I mean, come on. Robert Boyd in the chat, super chat donation. Thank you so much. You guys watch any of the World Juniors? I saw a little bit of USA Latvia yesterday at Dave & Buster's. Very interesting matchup. A stunner for Canada on the get-go. All of Canada is just in stunned silence.
I think that Canada got put in their place a little bit, but I think that they'll be better for it. Like now, the swag should be off. Now they should just go out and focus on hockey instead of focusing on the suits they're wearing and what goal song they're playing and all that jazz. So Canada's going to be better for it. I thought that was a good hockey game last night between Czechia and Canada. But, hey, Czechia is strong. I think they have a number of real nice talents there. I really like David Spacek a lot defensively, and David Juracek, obviously, as well. But Shapovalov, there we go.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said it on me.
Shapovalov. Yeah, he's looking real strong for Canada as well, and I think they have a kid named Khmelash, I believe, as well. So, and then their goaltender, oh my God, I forgot his name. I want to say Stepanek, and that's wrong, but I know he plays for Trice. No, shoot, do I even know what team he plays for? He's in the WHL, but I've heard a lot of good things about the Czech goalie for a couple of years now. So it's nice to see him have that strong game last night as well. I also caught a little bit of the Sweden Austria game before that got put way out of reach, and the Finland game was interesting. Finland's always one of those teams that starts off a little bit slow, and then they kind of steamroll their way into the elimination round. So them losing to Switzerland yesterday was a bit of a surprise, but teams like Switzerland, teams like Latvia, you can never take them lightly. That's why I think they're so much fun to watch from my perspective is, yeah, they're probably not going to win most games, but they are going to put, oh God, they're going to put up a much bigger fight than the Sharks and the Barracuda did tonight. I had to finish that thought. So
The
I
goaltend,
told you were getting super salty Kevin tonight, folks.
the goaltender I think you're talking about for Czechia is Tomáš Suchanek or Suchanek. Easy for me to
Tomáš Suchanek. Yes.
Yeah, that one. Plays for the Tri-City Americans.
Oh, I got Tri-City right.
Yeah. With Tri-City, he has a 3.61 goals against, 901 save percentage, 13-9.
Yeah, his stats aren't that good, but I've heard good things about him. And when you see him put up the performance he did against Canada last night, like there's something there.
Yeah, I mean, you look at what Strassman did in the Olympics. I mean, you just need one performance and you just are going to fly. So, interesting one there. Robert, I missed your other one earlier. Bring back the original jersey from 1991. Of course, those are beauts. Maybe modernize it just a skosh.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not like what they did with Evolve, but but I digress. So,
but Robert, thanks for bringing up the juniors there because I did want to talk about that. I missed today's games, but yeah, it's always a fun tournament. As I put out on Twitter, even if you can't watch the games, maybe you're at work or something like that. If you have the ability to just turn it on and listen, you will pick up so much information because between Dave Starman and Dennis Bayak and Gord Miller and Mike Johnson, they have so much to offer on these World Junior broadcasts. I just love listening to it and picking up all these random facts that eventually once these players turn pro, you go, oh, I remember that guy. He ate lunch with David Hasselhoff at that one, just random. I don't know. It's enjoyable. So.
And hey, you know what? Stick taps to Philip Bystedt. He's got 2 goals, 2 assists in 2 games so far for Sweden. So nice start for his tournament. Fingers crossed on that. Definitely looking out. So Kevin,
top line Philip Bystedt too.
Yeah, there you go. Well, as he should. Because we can take all the all the ones we can get. Really quick from Felix Chow. Good to see you, bud, in the chat. How does Austria get dominated every year at World Juniors?
Because they suck.
There you go.
Austria has. I'm sorry, but Austria has no business being in the top tier. So, yeah, that's my honest reason why.
All right, so your final thoughts, my friend. You're at Kevin Lacey 22 on the Twitter machine. It's good to see you. Hope you had a good holiday, my friend.
Good to see you too. I did have a good holiday. It already feels like 4 weeks ago with the day that I had, which, as you probably could tell on this podcast this evening. But thanks for enduring me and thanks for having me. My final thoughts are I want to give a birthday shout out to Will McNeil of Section 217. You may know him as right field Will. At the Oakland A's games, the creator or co-creator of the Barracuda goal dance that absolutely doesn't go with the current Barracuda song that for some reason still hasn't been changed. But yeah, so happy birthday to Will. And oh yeah, Puck Guy, happy birthday to you too, buddy.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. It was a fun day yesterday at Dave & Buster's in beautiful Concord. Just you have to have fun every now and then whenever you can. So appreciate all the birthday love. Appreciate all of you guys joining me. I'm at PuckGuy14 on the Twitter and the Instagram. Will, appreciate you, bud, because you do a lot of stuff, and I don't know how you're able to go to all these games. I'm quite jealous, but hey, you do it. So we'll be back with you on Thursday night following Sharks and Flyers. That's a 7:30 start, and then maybe we'll get some goal support for these goaltenders. Who knows? Okay, maybe not. But
let's just have the goalies start scoring all the goals. Why not?
You know what? At this point, that might not be a good idea. Let's just have fun with it. So, for Kevin, I'm Eric. Thanks for watching. We'll see you Thursday following Sharks and Flyers. Good night, everyone. Keep it real. Keep it teal. Keep it real, teal.